All right, guys, I got a super good one for you here tonight, today, whenever you're listening to this, mowing the yard, hanging out with friends. I don't know if you listen to podcasts while you're hanging out with friends. That's kind of weird, but mowing the yard, the baby's taking a nap, whatever, it's fine. I got Erin with Few Spirits, and we are going to talk about everything Few Spirits, everything Erin Lee, and she was gracious enough to send over some samples, and we're going to dip into those. So without further ado, here's Erin. How's it going? Thank you so much for rearranging your schedule with me. And I know I had to rearrange too. So, Erin, just to let you know, my son won the championship. So
Amazing.
We're all good. We're all good.
Congratulations to him. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
no. It's for 12-year-old boys, that's the biggest deal of their life right now. So baseball's a huge thing. So he was ecstatic about it. Obviously, proud parent as well. So but I thank you for working with me on this whole scheduling thing. But why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, personally, and then at the very end we'll say where you can find all your socials and stuff like that.
All right, sure. I grew up in Toronto, Canada, to immigrant parents. My growing up life was not so far from the TV show Kim's Convenience. Like, legit, the guy who wrote the show, he was my Bible study teacher when I was growing up. So it's kind of funny. And I guess I just never quite felt like I belonged in like any part of the world. I was like part of like the Canadian community and part of the Korean community, but I just didn't feel like I fit in. And then I was I got really into fashion. It gave me a way to express myself creatively. I got to make things, and it gave me a sense of confidence. So I wanted to like give that to other people too. And like, who doesn't love to dress up and feel good about themselves, right? So
absolutely.
I ended up pursuing a fashion design career, and I moved to New York City. I ended up getting a design job in a dress firm, and I became a sample sale blogger for a while, which is a different lifetime ago. But I ended up getting invited to things like New York Fashion Week, and it was like a wild ride. But then like the fashion industry started to change a lot. Fast fashion became really popular, so people were treating their clothes like tissues. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna wear this once or twice, I'm gonna throw it away. So then like that if you want things to be really quickly made and really cheap, like ultimately the quality is not there, and then there's more pressure on the people who are making it, because it's just like, okay, I need lower price goods, so we're not paying people properly, and then it's like really bad for the environment. So then I was starting to feel like kind of this like shift where I was just like, okay, I went into this industry because I wanted to be creative and make things, but now I feel like it's like leading to, I guess, consumerism, and then people were just also simultaneously not so kind. And so I was just like, I'm stressed out, I'm not sleeping properly, like what can I do to change my life? And then kind of got really into tea. I went on a trip to Asia, and while I was there, I went to a tea house in Beijing. And like before I knew it, I drank tea all my life. Like it was just part of life, but I didn't really explore a lot of teas. It was more like, oh, this is like the tea I drink at home, or this is the tea I have whenever I go to a Chinese restaurant or a Japanese restaurant. And then that was it. But then once I started exploring, I was like, oh my gosh, there's a world of different flavors. And it's like one plant, and depending on how you process it, it tastes entirely differently. And like, as I got into tea, I took a tea sommelier program and then learned more about tasting and nuances. And then that kind of led me into whiskey, because I was just like, there's so many parallels between tea and whiskey, because, depending on how whiskey is processed, it can taste entirely different. Because I mean, like distillery A over here and distillery B over there could have the exact same recipe, but they're not going to end up with the same results. So
That is correct. And it's really funny that you say that, because I actually recently was on somebody else's show. Not, I guess it wasn't recently, it was a while back, but 6 8 months ago. And they actually have they did the show in a tea house. It's called West China Tea Company, and it's in Austin, Texas, and super cool guy. And we compared whiskeys with tea, and I brought a number of whiskeys and we paired them with these different teas, and it was an absolutely fantastic times. Guys, go back and listen to that one. It was absolutely fantastic, and the teas were so different. I mean, the shangpuars and the this and the, I don't even remember what all we got into, but it was so much fun that I started going down that nerdy rabbit hole as well. And I'm like, I have all these teas and the little things, and you do all the accoutrement to go with it, and it's so much fun. And like, you can actually, they call it tea drunk, right? You can actually, sometimes it can affect you. Now, we were drinking alcohol as well, so that probably didn't affect me as much as it should have. And I had to drive home from Austin, so I was like barely sipping, if I was sipping at all. So but yeah, no, I'm sorry to interrupt, but that just really strung a chord with me, because I feel the same way. Once you start diving into something, it leads you down the path to something else. So while you were talking, I was thinking about which one of these samples would be the best to get started with. Do you remember which ones you sent?
I think, did I send you breakfast whiskey?
You did.
Okay, this is a Chicago or Illinois exclusive. Sorry, everyone else, but it's a fun one. It's bourbon whiskey finished in maple syrup barrels, and this first one, I think it sat in the maple syrup barrels for like 2 or 3 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I didn't pour any in there. Wow, what am I doing? Come on, let's get some if we're going to do it. So just to give you a little background, I've heard of Few Whiskey for a long time. I've been trying to get you guys on, and I just found the right connection to get a hold of you. So I appreciate that. So tell us a little bit about this. I know obviously maple syrup, but tell us a little bit about this and then get back to your story, because I'm really intrigued about that.
Yeah, so like our bourbon is 70 corn, 20 rye, and 10 malted barley. It's like everything we make at Few is grain to glass, and it's always been that way. We've never sourced product. We age in Minnesota oak barrels. Mm-hmm. So bringing a little bit of the Midwest flavor to it.
Wow, the nose on this thing is really nice. I don't really get the maple on the nose as much. I'm sure it'll be there on the palate, but it has a really nice rye spice coming through. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of oak, vanilla, all the caramel, and the vanilla might be shrouded in that maple syrup as well. It's just a innate sugary sweetness as well, which is really intriguing. I'm going to go in on the sip real fast.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Wow. That is no wonder it's called breakfast bourbon. Wow. That is nice. But it's not like, I've had some maple finished whiskeys that are just, it's like they poured 5 gallons of maple syrup in it, and it's too cloyingly sweet, and it's just maple. That's all you get. This is bourbon with like that little tinge, like a little feather going through it of maple. And if you wouldn't have told me it was maple, I would just say it's like, it could even be like a molasses or something like that. Like it's just a really nice sweetness going through it. Thank you very much for sending that over. And these cool little sample bottles, these were awesome. Thank you.
Oh, I'm glad you're enjoying them. I feel like, like all of our whiskey now is typically 4+ years old. So
okay.
I feel like we don't want to hide that aging. So even when we do a finish, we want to make sure or add tea like we will in the next couple samples.
Yeah.
We don't want the whiskey to get lost. Right.
Okay, so continue on with your story. Obviously, tea ventured into whiskey. That's where we left off.
So then I just became a giant like whiskey nerd. Like I started just learning a little bit about whiskey and then seeing the parallels between tea. And then I was like, oh, this is a lot of fun. And then next thing I know, I was like, oh, I'm going to try and join every tasting I can. Oh, I'm going to join these whiskey clubs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to like, and then like COVID happened. So then I started joining all these online conversations that lasted like 5 hours because no one had anything else to do.
Right.
With Drammers Club. And then I was reading books about whiskey because there was a whiskey book club component, and I started listening to podcasts and reading books about whiskey. And I was like, oh my gosh, all my brain space is being taken up by whiskey. Like, is it possible for me to make money like with this? And, like I was starting to wonder, like I was like, what do I gotta do? Do I gotta I don't know, maybe I have to like get brave and lead tours at a distillery, or like, I don't know, like I'm shy. So do I want to do that? So it was kind of like a weird war in my mind. And then I happened to come across an Instagram post, and it was on about a special bottle of whiskey called Good Deeds. And it was created in collaboration with 10 different distilleries, including few, and they had all donated whiskey to create a blend that raised money for an organization called the StepUp Foundation. And at this point, I was like, why are all these distilleries collaborating? What is the StepUp Foundation? Like, and I was just like, oh, this sounds interesting. Let me research further. So then I started like clicking on random links, and then I ended up on a website that gave more information, and it was like, oh, this is a program made specifically to help diversify the spirits industry. This program's going to help underrepresented individuals get training, and it was to be for an entire year. So I applied. Like at first I thought, oh wait, I'm going to apply next year, like, because I thought the deadline had passed, but they had extended the deadline. So I was like, application now. And then I put my best writing together, and my husband helped me edit. And then I put my application in. And the next thing I knew, I got the phone call that I'd been selected to be one of 2 interns in the inaugural year. Yeah. So like I was essentially like one of 2 guinea pigs, because this program had not existed before and not run. So it was one where like we were all learning a lot as we went, because like, you know, when sometimes I think they were afraid that if they put the program off for longer, like, and waited till it was perfect, it would never get going. So it was just like, let's get on this bike, let's ride it. We might bang up our knees, but we're gonna keep going.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And that is super cool that you were one of 2. And so what is that, you know, what does that mean to you being picked? I don't know how many applicants there were, obviously, but like, what does that mean to you being picked? Is it just like, and I don't know if you're a spiritual person or not, but this is the Whiskey Shaman podcast, so we get pretty spiritual over here sometimes. Was it just like God opening that door for you?
It really did feel like that. It felt like, I feel like sometimes in life, whenever things have felt like suddenly really easy and like a path was like cut for me, it just feels like some kind of divine intervention. Like like I was just like, oh, I'm supposed to be doing this. And like my journey into the spirits industry, like it's felt really like, it's not been always easy, but it's felt like this is what I'm supposed to be doing with my life.
That is awesome, because it's almost like serendipitous that you were looking for something else, and then you started deep diving, and the next thing you know, the thing you're deep diving about has an opening for you to do the thing that you're thinking about. So it's almost like the doors open for you, and you just walked right in, because why wouldn't you, right? I mean, if you have that opportunity, just take the opportunity. And so where does that lead you?
So I guess I kicked off my journey by flying to Louisville. I was at the American Craft Spirits convention, and surrounded by all of these folks in the craft spirits industry, and like just kind of getting to know people, talking to people and networking. And then I officially kicked off my journey in January. I think when was this? In like 2021? Was that the year, or 2022? Maybe it was 2022. Sorry, my brain is just like, it all feels like a blur to me. But
Yeah,
I spent
absolutely.
the entire year traveling. I started off in Portland at Westward Whiskey, making American single malt. And
Love
then
them.
I also got the opportunity to work with one of the founders, Christian Krogstad, and he taught me a little bit about innovation. So we worked on a gin together just as an experiment, so I could like learn what it's like to develop a new product.
Right.
That was really fun. I ended up going to Pennsylvania next at a farm craft distillery where they actually grow their own grains called Eight Oaks.
Okay.
So that was really cool. Like to
I've
go
heard of
from
it.
a medium scale to like a small scale distillery. And then where did I go next? Oh, then I went to Texas, actually. I was in the Arlington area, and I wasn't at a distillery this time, but I was at RNDC, which is one of the country's largest distributors. And I learned all about how much effort it goes into getting those bottles sent out to all of the different stores. And it was really interesting. And then my next stop was Tennessee, and I was at Cascade Hollow Distillery, and it was my first time seeing whiskey production at a larger scale. And then I closed off my internship split between Bullet Distilling as well as Stitzel-Weller.
I mean, what are we doing here? Like, seriously, like you've already got a catalog of great distilleries that you've worked for, and you're new to the game. So that must give you a lot of pride in knowing that like all of these people. I mean, obviously going through this program, you have some good backing with people that know the industry and stuff like that. And obviously your talents along the way have furthered that. But like all of those distilleries that you named are excellent. I mean, absolutely fantastic places to be. So you could have chose one and just said, no, I really like this one. So yeah, no, it's really cool that you got that much experience, because obviously each distillery does it a little bit different. They're making a different product, you know, like Bullet doesn't make what Westward makes, obviously. So it's like you just you get to learn everything. And that's what's so cool about the industry is they'll find a spot for you. I promise they'll find a place for you.
For sure. I feel like when I went into the program, I felt really open about what I wanted to do next. I think like I had in the back of my mind, like, oh, like I want to be involved in production. I'd like to do some blending. Like flavor has been just kind of that guidepost in my journey. So I just wanted to do that. And then like throughout the internship, as I tried different things, I was just like, oh, certain things come a little bit more naturally to me, like market research. When I worked in the fashion industry, I did market research all day long, like because it was like, okay, like you need to know what your competitors are doing so you can like create something that your customers want. And then I would like look at like our sales and see like what's selling, and then it's like, okay, how do I make something new that like my customer's going to want next? And like some of those skills are definitely useful things to think about in whiskey as well. But the more I became immersed in the internship, the more it became apparent that I want to end up in production. I like being behind the scenes. I like making. I like seeing flavor come to life. And it's just, I don't know. And the most rewarding part is seeing people celebrate your whiskey, like with your whiskey. Like
absolutely. That's what it's for, right? It's for uh, sharing it with friends and hanging out and even doing what we're doing right here tonight. Speaking of that, I want to get a note. We have quite a few samples to go through, and I'm barely taking sips of these because, I know it's a Friday night, but still, I'm not trying to get schnockered out here. So where do you want to go to next?
The Smashing Pumpkins.
All right, so I will give you full transparency. I am familiar with this particular whiskey because I thought it's so unique. But I'm more than happy to rock and roll with this one again, pun intended.
All right. This one was a fun one. I got the opportunity to work with the Smashing Pumpkins on this, which is amazing because, like, as a teenager, I definitely listened to a lot of Pumpkins.
Yep.
It felt like kind of an unbelievable dream come true. I think my background in tea helped me get selected to do the project, and Billy Corgan and his wife Chloe are giant tea nerds.
They are. So
much so that they have their own tea shop about like 20 minutes drive from the Few Distillery. And they definitely have some excellent food as well. I've gone there a few times to have lunch and a cup of tea. But they sent over a few different tea selections they thought might work well with our whiskey. And I got to develop the prototypes. So I played with different teas and different whiskeys. And then something about this tea, it's like a black tea that's scented naturally with rose petals. It just really grabbed my attention. But I am a sucker for fruity floral notes. So
me too.
It like marries really nicely with our bourbon without being like overwhelmingly floral.
Right. Exactly. And for those of you following along at home, this whiskey was actually proofed down with tea instead of water. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. We also did a little bit of ambient steep using our whiskey as well to kind of amp up some of those flavors.
I tell you, the nose on this thing is just, it sings. And I mean, man, I'm just full of puns tonight. I promise they don't get any better. But this thing, it literally, it talks to me a lot because I do, again, love the floral, fruity type as well. And that's what it is. It has a lot of, you said rose, so that automatically went in my head, right? But it has a lot of those really nice, sweet floral notes. And then the fruitiness of this is like, I don't know. It's not an apple. It's more like maybe even a peach. I don't know. It's really unique. And on the taste, it has that, you can definitely tell it's tea. Like it has that little bit of astringency to it, which isn't bad. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but like when you drink a good tea, that's what it has. Cause it's, not oversteeped, not understeeped. It's just right to where it gives you, what you're drinking, but it's not overpowering you at all. And I think it really shines through on this. What's the proof on this one again?
This is 46.5. And I feel like that fruit I feel like it's like a mix between like sweet cherry and like lychee for me.
Okay. Let me go back in for that. Okay. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying about that. Yeah. Yeah, I can get that. It's not like cherry cough syrup or anything like that. Yeah. It's almost like when you open the red dyed maraschino cherries. It's kind of similar to that. It's a little sweet, little cherry-ish. Yeah, I get it. Again, excellent pour, and man, that now I'm getting the tea. Like the finish is really tea-like, and it still has some sweetness to it. So it's almost like, which I know when you drink tea, like by itself, you don't put sugars and honeys or anything in it, but like, it's almost like you were to sweeten it a little bit with some honey or something. It has a really great finish, which is pretty long. It's still lingering on the palate, which is really nice. So yeah, dude, that's a knockout. That's a knockout right there. I saw when I opened the sample package and I saw that, and I was like, okay, we're gonna have a good time. Yeah. But okay, where was I going? Yeah, this happens sometimes. My mouth works faster than my brain. They call that ADHD. Anyway, So you were working with Smashing Pumpkins. It was a great time, and then so let's talk a little bit about R&D, research and development, right? Because that seems like something that you would be into. Okay, well, first of all, at what point did you decide to, or did Few decide to put you in charge or put you as head distiller? Let's go there. Or is there a bunch of time we're missing? I don't want to miss up the story too much.
Oh, like, I mean, I can go there. What happened was, like, I've been at Few for, I think at this point, like a year and 4 months. So not like super long.
Right.
I was just starting to feel like, hey, I'm a pretty confident distiller now. Like, most problems, I got this. Like, I could help troubleshoot things. I even helped train a bunch of distillers too. So like, I feel like there's nothing like teaching to help reinforce your own knowledge and like make it feel like rock solid. So then I was getting to this point, and the head distiller at the time, Sydney Jones, she got the opportunity to join our parent company, Heaven Hill, at Heaven Hill Springs, which is their brand new facility.
Yeah.
That's massive. So that was a super great opportunity for her. So I was sad to see her go, but also it opened up a space for a head distiller. And they approached me and asked, would you be interested in taking up this position? And honestly, I was like, am I ready? Like, can I do this? And I think everyone has, like, I feel like a lot of people, women especially, struggle with imposter syndrome, where it's just like, oh, can I make this work? And I talked to a bunch of my mentors. Like, I am very lucky and blessed to have like some really awesome women in the industry that I can reach out to and ask questions. And I reached out to all of them, and they were like, one of them said they wouldn't have asked you like to do this if they didn't think you could do this.
Mm-hmm. And
then another one said, like, you sometimes like when's the right time? Now is always the right time.
Absolutely.
And I feel like all of those things started making me feel like, okay, I can do this. Like, I'm going to jump and I'm not going to fall. I'm going to swim as hard as I can.
Yeah.
And it was a time of rapid learning for me too, because like I took a new position. I had also got a scholarship to study distilling through the Institute of Brewing and Distilling, IBD, okay. Or now it's CIBD. But,
CIBD, yeah.
Yeah, and so I was in the midst of my studying, and I was just like, oh, new job and all of the studying, like, can I do it all? But honestly, the studying, like, I think getting a strong, since I don't have a science background, getting a strong technical baseline helps make every day easier. And like, the more I like get into the science of how distilling works, the more I can improve our processes and make more efficient mashes, which is actually a really bright spot in my recent days. I'm like, oh, I made this. I made like X amount of more proof gallons, like with no more ingredients by just changing some temperatures and like acid. That's awesome.
Yep. Absolutely. So when you get approached to do that, and you've said it already, you're a little more shy. I hate to use that word, but you're a little more, you want to be in the background. But the head distiller, yes, their main goal is to make sure product gets coming out of that still, goes in the barrel, stuff like that. But you're also kind of the spokesperson. Obviously, we're sitting here talking. You're kind of the spokesperson you speak for the whiskey. Whereas like a brand rep or somebody like that, they speak for the whiskey, but at a marketing level. You speak for the whiskey because you're making it. And that to me puts you in the forefront. I mean, and if you don't feel that way, that's fine. But like, I feel like it puts you in the forefront to where you have to say things because you made it. So like, how did that kind of reaction, or I don't know if you even got that until just now, but how did that make you feel knowing that like, hey, this could be like people could start asking me questions and like want advice from me now?
I think like I knew that when I took this role, speaking would be a part of it. And
Right.
honestly, like I was a little terrified about that part. And I was just like, initially, I was like, okay, I need to feel like I'm comfortable at the job, like I'm good at the job before I can like talk with other people. And as I've been doing the job, I think I've grown in my confidence because it's just like, hey, I've been doing things and things are going well, like, and so I don't need to be afraid. I also actually, coincidentally, Heaven Hill has this internal Toastmasters group that just started. And I signed up, of course, because I was just like, I need to practice public speaking as much as possible. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of a personal goal for me this year, which is why I'm like, okay, coming out from the shadows, and I'm going to like actually say yes when people ask me to be on a podcast instead of being like, I don't know if I'm ready yet.
Now, I will give you full transparency. When I talked to Doug over at Single Malt Frontier, we talk back and forth all the time. He had mentioned your name, obviously in passing, as well as all the others that I'm sure were integral in helping you, Amanda at Virginia and Caitlin over at Clear Creek, and said that you were the I don't want to say the least responsive, but like the one that would be I'm going to say it, the hardest get because of that. You kind of wanted to just do your thing, and I appreciate you coming on here because I know it takes a lot to get out of your comfort zone, but I'm really glad that you did because it showcases that like even people when they think they don't have it, like I don't think I speak well. It's fine. I'm functionally illiterate. It's fine. But I make it work in a way that seems genuine to which it is. I mean, I'm being 100% transparent. It is genuine. And I think you're doing the same thing. You just be you, do what you do. Obviously you have to talk about product. You have to talk about things which you should know already. Right. So that part should come easy. It's just the main thing. I see a lot of people, you were talking about that imposter syndrome. I see a lot of people in the industry, especially I've talked to quite a few people that they have that, and male or female, they have that to where they're like, I'm not good enough. I'm never going to out to these other people, or they put me on this level, and I'm the bee's knees now, and no, I'm unattainable. Which I feel like you're at that point in your career right now, where you're getting out there, and not that my podcast is the biggest one in the world, but you're getting out there and you're getting more exposure, which is only going to make it easier for you, I believe. You can tell me if I'm wrong. That's fine. And it's only going to promote the brand even more, in turn promote you. And in the end, you make better whiskey and you make more money. So hey, why not?
Yeah, for sure. I think having a wider reach through podcasts like yourself, like definitely helps me connect with like whiskey nerds like myself in the world. And if that helps sell the product, that means I get to experiment more and make cooler stuff. Like, so
absolutely. All right, let's get into another sample. I promise, guys, I'm doing the smallest of pours here. So we have a rye, we have the American whiskey, and then we have the Smokeworks.
Okay, I sent you the Immortal Rye.
Yes,
and this is part of our core range, but for some reason, I can't always find it in every state, but it is available on the fewspirits.com website.
Okay.
But this is the whiskey. It's a rye whiskey that's been proofed with a Dansong oolong tea. And it's kind of the reason I thought, hey, if they do tea and whiskey, I probably could work there.
Okay, so for those who don't know what that type of tea is, can you kind of explain that to them?
Yeah, so a Dansong oolong is a type of oolong. So an oolong tea is kind of a partially oxidized tea, somewhere between a green tea and a black tea. Like, if you cut an apple and like leave it on the counter, it starts browning. Like like that's oxidation. So you do that with the tea leaves. You kind of intentionally bruise them, and then the tea masters actually, based on aroma, will be like, that's the point. Don't want to miss it. We're gonna stop oxidation now. And the Dansong is a really unique variety because it's kind of crafted to take on more fruit and floral qualities. And depending on what it is, like they found a plant with a very specific flavor profile, and then they want to concentrate that. So they graft all of these branches from that plant onto other trees to make more of these trees. So they're Franken trees in a way.
Okay.
And like through that kind of concentration of what they want to hold on to most, there's like specific Dansong oolongs that are more like in the realm of like they'll name like, oh, this is orchid aroma or this is satin peach aroma, but this is eight immortals, and it was named after like I think eight deities in Chinese culture. Or like I think there was one of the legends I heard was there was like a fire on a hill, and like there was only 8 tea plants remaining, and then from those tea plants the other ones grew, so that's why it got that name.
Awesome. I mean, okay, so that's not only with whiskey, but evidently with tea as well. A good story. It doesn't have to be real, but a good story makes it. Because if you can give me a good story and give me BS, that's fine. But if you can give me a good story, that's what makes it. Because like one thing I hate about, I don't want to say hate, that's a strong word, but one thing I dislike about some of the whiskey brands out there is the story they have is like, oh, we're innovating and we're doing this and we're being different and we're sourcing everything from MGP. And I'm like, how are you innovating? That's not innovating anything, really. You're just taking a product, putting it in a bottle. Anyway, so I feel like a good story, again, albeit what it is, but a good story makes it. And I feel like tea obviously has it just like whiskey does, which is really cool. And I will tell you this rye, I don't know if this is the rye that I've had in the past. I bought a bottle of rye a long time ago, probably 5 years ago, maybe. And it was so good. It was one of my favorite ryes to go back to, but just because it was so interesting. I don't think I have the bottle anymore, obviously 5 years ago, but it's really interesting. I think this might be it, but I'm not certain. I did not realize it was proof down with tea as well. So that is super interesting. And the fruit aroma on this, to me, it's coming across like a melon, like a honeydew melon or something like that. It's really nice. And on the palate, it is rye. It's obviously rye, but it has this floral note that just kind of coats the top of it, almost like if you were to make, and this is a dumb tasting note, but I'm going to say it anyway. If you were to take like flowers and make them into like a marmalade or a jam and put them on top of there, it's like a little bit of sweetness, but then it's very floral, but it's almost like honeysuckle, I would say, like something a little lighter. Yeah, it's super great.
I think it's weird that you were talking about the floral flowers that way, because I this year got obsessed with magnolias, and I was like, I'm going to find these magnolias because I saw it on Instagram, of course, where I see everything. And I was just like, get these magnolias, and I'm going to like turn them into like, I think I turned them into cookies, like magnolia snap cookies, because they have kind of a ginger cardamom flavor. Then I also created like a simple syrup, and I was like, I'm going to make like a magnolia drizzle cake, which turned out really good.
I'm sure.
So I like the petals were so tasty, because I like when I was making the syrup, I was like, I wonder if I can turn these into a jam, because I've had like rose petal jam before, which is so yeah.
That's funny. That's funny, and it's funny how it all kind of connects. And of course, we all know, everybody in the whiskey world knows, taste is very subjective. Obviously, it could be what you ate for the night. It could be who you're drinking the whiskey with. It can change daily. You know, like let's say I drank a black coffee right before I came in here. I didn't, but let's say I did. It's going to change your palate. You know, it's going to change the way you taste. And so when you're doing sensory analysis, that leads me to my It wasn't the topic that was on my mind, but it is now. When you're going into sensory analysis, either coming off the still or in blending, I don't know if you do any of the blending as well.
I feel like right now we're more in a vatting system than a blending system, but
okay,
we might be incorporating a little bit more blending in the future.
Awesome. So when you're doing sensory analysis, say coming off the still, do you do it by smell and taste, or do you do it by proof point, or how?
Smell
I mean, if smell and taste. Okay, so you're yeah. So you're able to pick out certain things that you know is in your, like, let's say you're doing a bourbon run, for instance. You're able to pick out, okay, this is where we want it. This is perfect right there. And then obviously, but the good thing about what you guys do is you have a variety of things that you make. So you're kind of like teasing your palate the entire time, because like one day you might be making rye, or the next day you might be making, American malt or whatever, like you guys have quite a bit that you work with. So you don't get like palate fatigue and stuff like that when you're distilling. So what is the if you can tell me, and I'm sure you can, what is let's say the size of your still setup, and tell us a little bit about production.
Oh yeah. I feel like, okay, with our column still, I'm going to have to say, like, I don't exactly know the size of our pot still, but we use 30-gallon or 30-barrel fermenters.
Okay.
Each fermentation is 30 barrels.
Okay.
In beer terms, I'm not sure how that translates. But right. So, like, these days we're doing 1 mash a day. And then it goes into the fermentation tanks for, actually, we're lucky right now because we have super long fermentations.
Right.
For like a minimum of, I guess, 4-ish days to a week.
Okay.
Like, some of them, yeah. Some of our fermentations recently are a week. I would say, like, yeah, which is actually really long, because a lot of people are trying to turn it around those fermenters as fast as possible. But like the nice thing about having the long, slow fermentations is that you do get more complex flavors. So that's been fun. We run things through a 11-inch Vendome stainless steel column still, and we target around 120 proof off the column. And then we transferred over to a hybrid pot still, and it's a German still, I think from Koth, that and this is where we polish our spirit and refine it, but we also have the advantage of being able to make cuts. Like typically I would say, like our heads, like when I switch from heads to hearts, it's below 160 proof.
Okay.
And then we typically run it like to taste, but like I would say to like 131 to 125 proof, depending on how it's tasting. Yeah. Right. So I feel like each run, it has its own unique personality.
Right. Well, and that's true, because you got to think about the grain going in the mash, the fermentation time, the temperature that day. And I don't know if you're doing like closed fermentation that's monitored or anything, but it all makes it, if you maybe the still ran a little hotter that day or whatever. Like there's all these variables that go into it, and so really taste and smell is the best way to do it. Now there is some of the bigger brands, obviously they don't have time for that. They have to do it by whatever marker number or whatever that they got. But I feel like that makes the spirit genuinely yours. Yours as in few distilleries.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like every distiller gets to put their fingerprint on it, right? So
absolutely. And that's what's so cool about distillation in general, not just whiskey, but distillation in general. I don't care if you're making brandy, cognac, rum, whatever, you're distilling it. So you make it the way. Now, obviously, for you working for a commercial distillery, you have to meet a certain profile. You have a profile you go by, but at the same time, like it's batch. So you're not going to be able to be 100% like, Jack Daniels tastes like Jack Daniels 20 years ago and 20 years in the future. It's going to taste the same, but there is variations in that as well. So, it's really cool to see the signature, like you're saying, the signature of the whiskey makes it inherently yours, and it gives you ownership to it. which is super cool. And that's why I love talking to people that are in the craft industry, because of that specific thing. You put your blood, sweat, and tears into it. Hopefully not actually in the whiskey, but
there it happens. I feel like there are some days where you're like, I want to cry, but I'm not going to cry because I need to just pick myself up and keep moving. Like,
no, I mean, I can tell you, my day job, I'm a plumber, and so I own my own business, all the things. There are days that I'm like, I'm done, I'm out of here, I can't do this, and then I'm like, oh, but I got mortgage, so I got to go to work, I got to do the thing. So I tell.
What you do, being a plumber, would be a very useful skill set for a distiller.
Exactly. No, I've actually done plumbing on a number of distilleries in the area around here. Now it does get a little weird when we're talking steam and stuff like that. That gets a little bit out of my range. But like, I've done glycol lines and all the other things for it. It's a lot of fun. It's because it's something different, really. I hooked up one still recently. It's been a couple of years ago, but recently, and it was a 200-gallon, the German still you're talking about. It was a hybrid pot still as well, and I had a cold water inlet. I had a hot water discharge off. I had like 40 different pipes going to it, and then we turned it on, and it all worked. And I was like, I did my job, good. I don't suck. Great. But yeah, it's so cool when you can put your fingerprint on it, and when you can do that, because it, like I say, it makes it inherently yours, even though you're going to give it to somebody, but it gives a piece of you in the whiskey, and it shows. Just these couple of samples that we've had, I can see the craftsmanship inside the whiskey. It's not just another bottom shelf bourbon that you can get for $12, and not that there's anything wrong with those. They have a place as well. But at the same time, like, you can tell that the care was put in there, and you guys really. Just to let you know, 30 barrels is roughly 1,600 gallons.
All right.
I don't know. I wrote it down. I don't know why. Whatever. Yeah. It's fine. Moving on.
Transfer, like, I feel like to our pot still, it's typically like under like 260 proof gallons or under, which is how I think of it. But I don't.
Okay.
It's hard for me to like translate that into actual volume.
Right. I know. It's like, I just do the thing, and it goes from here to there, and that's all I care about. So let's talk about. Okay, so once you've got the liquid distilled, depending upon what you're distilling, then you just put them in a cask and hope for the best.
Yeah, we well, after it comes off the still, we transfer it, we weigh it out, transfer it, and we cut it down to 117.5 proof, because that's our barreling proof.
Okay. We
fill our barrels. It's like a slightly lower proof than like, I guess, a lot of bourbon distilleries do, because they usually go at 125 proof, because that's like the legal allowable limit. But and it also saves money on barrels, because you don't need as many barrels if you go in at a higher proof. But we thought that the payoff of getting like some of those more water soluble sugar, like wood sugar extractives, I can't even say the word right.
It's all good.
It was worth it to go in at 117.5.
And there's a lot of research out there, and I'm not a scientist or a research analyst at all, but there's a lot of research going out there. Back in the day, like in pre-prohibition and things like that, they actually went in at a very low proof because they wanted more of the water soluble esters and stuff coming out of the barrel than the alcohol soluble. And so it made for a different flavor of whiskey, and so I know a lot of people are playing around with their proof points all over the place. I've heard of people putting it in the barrel at 100 proof or less, and I'm like, wow.
We've done that with some of our experiments. Yeah.
So I mean, so let's talk. You mentioned experiments, and then we've got a couple of experiments up here already. But what is it like? Do you just get free reign to do whatever, or is there a game plan on the experimentation?
Oh, I wish we could get free reign, but unfortunately, at the end of the day, we have to be practical and make what sells and what our public wants from us. And then but we do get lucky in that we get to do some limited time offerings, LTOs, and in these ways we get to experiment. And I think like usually we'll get to do 2 or 3 experimental mashes a year. This year we put away, I think, 4 experimental mashes, like some that we've put in barrel before. Like, so I can say what those are. Like we did, like we ran more rice whiskey, but some that we've never done before, including one mash bill that I came up with that I'm super excited about, but I can't say much about it except that we utilize a grain that was very popular from the 1800s to the 1960s, but hasn't been popular since.
Got it. Awesome. I love that. I love finding like you're saying, finding like an old recipe that you find in a book somewhere, because as a whiskey nerd, you start reading old literature from Seagrams and stuff like that, where you're like, oh, they used to use this in their mash or whatever. They would put baking soda in there and it would help the fermentation or whatever. Anyway, it's really cool to find those older recipes that people were like, well, why are you putting I don't know, horse apples in there? Will it help with the fermentation, or it help stave off, lactobacillus or whatever? And so it's really cool that you guys get to do that and get to experiment a little bit. And rice whiskey is a big one. I know there's a bunch of people doing it, and some are doing it well. Others,
Yeah, we released a bottle, I think, last year in collaboration with a fantastic Chicago-based sushi restaurant called Sushi Sun, and they use it at their restaurants for highballs, which is nice.
Oh, yeah, that sounds really nice. So what are some of the other experiments that y'all have done that you can talk to me about?
A really cool one that we do at Few is we work with koji. And koji is a type of fungus that is commonly used in Japanese cooking to make all sorts of things like mirin and miso and soy sauce, and it's wonderful. They used to actually use it in distilling, and it's kind of part of like Illinois' lost distilling history, because there was a kind of scientist from, I think, a long time ago, Takamine, who actually was at the Whiskey Trust, and he was experimenting with koji, and that's what American whiskey could have tasted like, because apparently it was much more productive than other fermentations at the time.
Right.
But I think because of people didn't like him, because of racism, they burned the distillery down, and it was a short-lived process. But I mean, we're lucky because Takamine went on to create, is it adrenaline? Yeah, he created adrenaline. So
okay, well, he did okay.
Yeah,
and that's pretty. I hate to say this. This is not a political show or anything, and I'm not trying to get that way. But like, I will say that we have came a little further in the world with acceptance of people and stuff like that. And do you do cool stuff? Are you a cool person? Then do the thing, right? That's how it should be, right? It shouldn't have to be race, creed, color. That goes out the window when you're doing a cool thing. That goes out the window in general, right? And the struggles that all of us have had to have throughout the years. It's a wonder we're still here, right?
for sure.
Okay, let's get into one more. Well, we can get into both, but that's fine. We have the American and the Smoke Works, which I'm guessing you're saving for the last.
Yeah. So the American, I just sent it to you. Like, it's been around for a while.
Yeah.
I really like it. It's actually a blend of our bourbon, our rye, and the smoked cherry malt, which is the Chicago Smokeworks release. So like originally we created that. So I just sent it to you because it was kind of like a flavor transition.
I love that. I love that. You're speaking to my nerdiness. I really enjoy that. Now, I will tell you, this one to me, I was able to pick up a bottle again, probably 5 years ago. I don't know. I went through a thing with, I could find, because Texas is a weird market, with it being 3-tier, it's hard to get certain bottles around here. And I saw the rye and the American, and I grabbed both of them because I was like, yes, I've heard of this brand briefly through somebody, right? I'm going to pick it up and check it out. And both of these really spoke to me because I am a peated Scotch fan. So this kind of spoke to my smoky side, but it really has a lot of the great bourbon flavors that we know and love. And knowing that it has the rye in it too, that's just, we all, who doesn't love a good rye whiskey, right?
Plus, our rye is a little different because of the yeast we use. We don't get we don't I feel like a lot of people think rye is a spice bomb, but our rye is not, because we use a POF, phenolic negative yeast. So it doesn't emphasize, if you use a POF positive yeast, it emphasizes those spicy clove cinnamon notes,
right?
And it converts. Well, I don't even know.
It's fine.
Or vinyl. I can't even say all these things, but or VG.
It's fine.
Clove notes, like in Hefeweizen beers.
Right. You can get as nerdy as you want, or you don't have to. I don't care. But the listeners love it because we get people that talk about their product and then they're like, "Yep, we used a yeast. What type of yeast? I don't know. Some yeast. We found a yeast. We used it." And then you get the other people like yourself that's used these positive and negative yeasts, and other people that are using wild yeast that's from outside. They're just scooping it in jars and throwing it on their whiskey. So yeah, we take them all here. So I will tell you on this one, the smoke on this is so slight. I mean, it is there. It almost presents as not even campfire. It's like maybe you're grilling a burger, and it's just that Maillard reaction from the burger dripping down onto the coals. It's kind of like that. It's not even like a smoke, I would say, not even like a smoke. It's more of just a inherent, I don't even know how you say it. How like when somebody's smoking a cigar by you, but it's not like secondhand smoke, right? But you can smell it, but it's not like in your face. That's the kind of stuff I'm getting here.
Whispering in the background.
Absolutely. It's whispering at us, which is really cool because, either sometimes smoke can be either it's not there at all, or it's overwhelming and it's hitting you in the face, like you're chewing on some seaweed or something like that. So, it's, and I love those too. Don't get me wrong. I love those too. Yeah. So how do you pick, and this might be an off the wall topic, but how do you pick the proof point that goes into the bottle?
So in general, as a nod to the Chicago's World Fair, I think most of our releases are 93 proof.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was I think 1893 was the Chicago World's Fair and Exposition. So
right.
We that's generally our proof point, and then except for our bottled and bond releases, which are obviously 100 proof.
100 proof. And do you have any cask strength releases?
So we're actually changing up our single barrel program this year, and we will be cask strength few for the first time ever into the market. So
wow. What are some of the I'm guessing you get the opportunity to go and check the barrels and check on them, make sure they're doing right, correct? Or are you simply production?
I feel like we're hoping this year to dig deeper into all of our barrel warehouses and review more, because I think we've always been a really lean team and we get a lot done. I think there was 6 of us, but now I think there's just 5 of us. So team in the production / processing side. So we do what we can, but I think this year we'll have the opportunity to tap into the warehouses more. We just did a deep dive into all of our single barrels. So we had to review, I think, 70 of them So it was a fun process, but
Yeah.
definitely after a while, like I'm like cask strength bourbon, and my taste buds are numb.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And there's, even with spitting the whiskey out and taking breaks and doing all that, it'll fatigue your palate so bad, especially at cask strength, especially if you're trying to release it at cask strength, because obviously you could water it down in the glass and get it down to a proof point that's more manageable. But if you're releasing it at cask strength, it needs to sing through at that point. Yeah, I did some blind judging, and we did 35 or 45 whiskeys in one day, and I was like, man, I'm toast. I can't even do this, and of course I don't do it all the time, so for me it was like, oh, it was a little over. And they went anywhere from, of course it was Texas whiskey too, so it's a little more robust, I guess you could say. It went anywhere from 100 proof to 148 proof, so take that for what it is. So you guys don't really get any barrels that are pushing super high proofs, is that correct?
Like typically, so we go in at 117.5. So
right,
like our proof does go up over time, but it usually kind of hovers around 120, I think 124 to 131 proof.
Okay, I mean that's
Depending on where in our barrel warehouse it's been.
I mean, so you're getting a lot of loss of water, which is good. So you're just concentrating the flavors of the whiskey in there, which is really nice. So let's talk a little bit about you talked about there's only 5 people on the team. About how big of a space are you guys working out of?
Our facility, I think, is like we're in an old auto body garage that was converted into a distillery. So
okay.
It is not the largest of space, but we are really efficient. We have racking to help us store our pallets of grain. And anytime people visit, they're like, this is where it all happens. Like, you're so efficient with your space, because every inch matters.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I've been to some local distilleries that, they're 150 gallons still or whatever, very small. And they're in a, 12 by 12 building, and they're making it work. And that's the cool thing. You just find what you have to have right here, put it right there, and move on. It's not one of those, you have to be a little OCD about it at some point, because it's like, man, it can turn into a mess really fast with a small amount of space like that. You don't have those, you roll the barrel from here and it goes down this conveyor belt to the next city, and you don't have all that working for you in your favor. So you got to make do with what you have, obviously. Yeah, no, that's super cool. That's super cool.
We're lucky in that we have barrel storage facilities offsite. We have 2 barrel storage warehouses, which is great, because I think back when Fuse started, they were also aging in that same space, and I'm like, I can't even imagine that.
Yeah. And did you say how many barrels you were able to fill a day? I'm sorry.
So right now at our current production, we typically fill between 2 to 4 barrels a day, depending on what we're distilling. Why we don't produce as much as when we do bourbons.
Right.
Usually. And then when we were on doubles pre-COVID, or actually, I don't know. We were doing doubles when I started at Few as well. So when we were doing doubles, it would be, I guess, double that.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
So I it just kind of gives everybody kind of like the understanding of like the production. Because I mean, we get some guys on here that they're like, yeah, I do 50 barrels a day, or I do half a barrel a day. And then I fill up the rest of or they vat it, obviously, but I fill up the barrel the next day or the next week sometimes, because it takes them 4 stripping runs and then a finishing run. So we talk to them all. We're not just, we talk to everybody. These people doing it in their backyard. No, not them. But yeah, no, it's really interesting. What kind of how all it works out, because you get a lot of freedom, but then there's also a lot of structure there as well for you. So you're able to, what you're doing. You come into work. Okay. So explain normal day of you coming to work? You come in, whatever, 8 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning. How do you start your day?
7 in the morning, I come in. I feel like the first thing I do is unlock the doors, open up the garage, open up the windows, plug in some fans just to get the air circulating.
Mm-hmm.
I fill up some sinks. I set my distillate from the previous day circulating up upon itself, because like at the end of the day we weigh it out and add cut water, so I let it circulate for a couple hours. I go over to the the mash tun first, and I turn up the agitator speed to 60. I start cutting my heads and tails because we recycle those into our stripping runs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I cut those to a safe proof for transfer, because you don't want to be transferring high proof alcohol at high speeds.
Right. Yeah. That's,
I set up the column still for the day. I start transferring the low wines from the previous day to the pot still for finishing. And then I feel like there's a lot of movement in the morning. I get a fermenter ready to steam. So we do like the whole process, like
that's awesome,
in a day. So then like later on in the day, I'll be like mashing, or my partner distiller, because usually we work in pairs.
Yeah.
We'll be mashing in, and then one of us will be like manning the stills and getting everything going, and then we make our cuts and we hydrate some barrels to make sure they don't leak once we add spirit to them. And then we're just, I guess, transferring some of those. We drain them, transfer them over, and fill them up, and they get loaded onto a truck once we get 4 barrels on a pallet. And
I mean, do you eat,
and a few other things.
Do you eat lunch, or do you just you're just working all day?
I feel like I guess a lot of my day is kind of, it depends on the day, but I feel like I kind of heat up some like food, and then sometimes I eat a few bites, and then I'll walk around and do my rounds. Like it's a little easier now that I'm working with a second distiller to like be able to like sit a little longer sometimes, but generally at the distillery, I walk a lot. So it's not a big space, but during my average shift, I probably get like close to 10,000 steps. Just
there you go.
Walking around, moving hoses. Like I think a lot of your day is moving hoses and getting ready for transferring liquid, because that's what you do at the end of the day, because you're transferring your mashes, you're like adding water to get them to the right sugar level to add yeast, you're transferring your low wines, you're moving your finished spirit into totes to weigh, and then you're also moving liquid into barrels. So it's just a lot of liquid movement.
That's it sounds like it. Good Lord. That's a long day. I'm wore out just hearing it. Wow. So in doing all that, I'll say this, and then we'll get into the last one, and then I'll let you go. Well, I mean, we're going to drink it together, but then I'll let you go. Do you enjoy doing what you're doing?
It's fun. I feel like I am really happy that I joined a craft distillery team. I had the experience of being in larger facilities, but I think the hands-on nature of being part of a small team is a lot of fun. Like it's so satisfying to like come in and be like, hey, I like mashed that, I distilled that, I like put it into barrel, and in a few years, like I made that entire thing. And that's when actually like I realized that imposter syndrome is not helpful, because I was like, I did all that, like I'm making whiskey, like I can't feel like an imposter because like that didn't make itself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will tell you, I know you had your hands in at least one of these whiskeys. I can tell you it shows in the product. It shows, and I know a lot of your day is spreadsheets and stuff like that too, and that's all the stuff that distillers don't want to talk about, but it's a lot of that, and I'm sure you have to take calls and the meetings and all the other stuff as well.
Some
Which
of my meetings are headphones in while I'm walking around. Like,
I love that.
doing
I love
things.
that.
People are like,
They don't want the face-to-face meeting. We can do it over the phone. It's fine.
yeah, I like, or I've held my phone and they're like, Erin, you're moving a lot. And I'm just like, yeah, I need to, because no one else is here. So I need to keep my eye on everything.
I'm the one over here making the money. Let's go.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about this Chicago Smokeworks. I'm really excited about this one because obviously the name says probably what it is. So tell us a little bit about this one.
So this is using 100% smoked cherry malt, which gives a lot of nice smoke flavors, but in like kind of a lighter, more fruity, light like way that's not as heavy, I guess. Like it's like that nice barbecue smoke that would like be lovely with like a smoked chicken. Like
Yep. Mm-hmm. Wow. To me, I don't know who, somebody in my family smoked pipe tobacco. And they would smoke the cherry pipe tobacco. And that's the whole thing when you're smelling and drinking whiskey. If it can take you back to a memory,
oh yeah,
then you know you did your job. And that's where it's taking me. It's taking me there. Like there's some leather armchair type notes in here, but the smoke is so nice. It's not overpowering, like I'm saying. It's not. And being 100% smoked, you would think it would have some and of course I haven't sipped it yet, but like it's really nice. But I'm getting the whiskey base behind it is the bourbon, correct?
No, this is malt whiskey.
Oh, malt. I'm sorry, you said that.
No,
you
you're
said
fine.
that. I'm sorry. So you're getting the base whiskey underneath it as well. And you guys don't work a lot with malt whiskey, is that correct?
No, not a lot anymore. Like I feel like we were early to the table with making some American single malt, but at the end of the day, we make what our customers like to drink, and they love our bourbon and they love our rye. So that's what pays the bills. But in this case, we got to play with the smoked cherry malt distillate. We originally created this to use as part of the blend for the American whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
But upon tasting it, I think we initially had reservations like, is this too smoky for people? And then we're like, no, this is really good. Like, we'll put it into a bottle and release it.
I will tell you, it's not too smoky. It's just the right amount of smoky. Like I don't smoke a cigar, but if I did, it would go great with a cigar. It's that level of smoke that you would get from that. This sitting on the porch, you're just hanging out. The dogs are running around doing their thing. You're sitting there having a deep conversation about, I need to cut the grass or something like that. But it's also, if you want to go deep into it, you can, or it can just be a sipper. Like, hey, that's a really nice, and that's what's so cool about a lot of the whiskeys that I've tasted from you guys tonight is you can deep dive on them, or you can sit there and sip them, and either way, you're going to get a good product. You can spend 45 minutes on this glass and pick all these little notes out of it if you wanted to. And I feel like that has a lot to do with the workmanship that's going into the whiskey and the hands that prepared it. That's just me, and it might be corny or whatever, but take that for what it is. Yeah, it has that maltiness like you would get from a single malt, obviously, but it is more subdued. It's not like when some people that don't normally drink malt whiskey, they drink a malt whiskey, they're like, man, it tastes really grainy. It tastes like cereal or something. This one, it doesn't have that for me, just tonight, of course. But yeah, no, it's super cool. So, okay, couple more questions. The last question. It can be the last. That's fine. Where do you see the future for Few? Is it Few Distilling or Few Spirits? I've heard both.
Few Spirits?
Few Spirits. I thought it was Few Spirits. Where do you see the future for Few Spirits, and where do you see the future? And you don't have to go too far in the future. Next year, 2 years, whatever. And where do you see the future for you with Few, and not just with Few, because we care about you as well. We want to make sure that you're in the best place you can be. Where do you see that going?
I feel like I think we're gonna dive deeper into koji, like, and it's been a lot of fun. And like you can expect probably more nerdy releases in the future. We
Love
had
it.
fun experiments in the books, and more to come. And I feel like this year I'll probably get to dive a little bit. Like I've been working on a quality program, which has been a lot of fun. And because, I love all the sensory stuff. And I'm hoping to dive a little bit more into some blends, like even if it's just for some select releases. So that'll be fun.
Awesome. Yeah, because blending in itself is a whole nother category, right? It's almost alchemy at some point when you can take a barrel that's not great and a barrel that's absolutely amazing and put them together and make something that's amazing. I don't know how you get the not great out of it, but anyway, they do it and they do it well. And blending is lost. It's a lost art. And it's absolutely, I love it. I will.
Magic to me. Sometimes it's like you take 1 + 1 and you don't get 2. You get like 3, and you're like, how did it happen? Like, how is it better than either of these 2 parts could be by themselves? But you add layers and complexity, and like if you get the balance just right, it is magic.
Absolutely. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I love a good single barrel, right? That showcases that barrel, that showcases all of the nuances of that one particular barrel. And each one's a little bit different. But like there's something with a good blended whiskey, whatever you want to call it, not blended with neutral grain spirit, but a good blended whiskey to where it's just like, man, that just sings. It just has so much going on for it. And it's just really cool. It's really cool to see. I can't wait to see what happens not only with you in the future, but with Few Distilling, Few Spirits. Good Lord, I keep saying the wrong word.
Well, we're a distillery, so.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody has their own nomenclature at the end of their company. But I can't thank you enough for hanging out with me. This has been an absolute blast. I would love later in the future, a year or so from now, to do a follow-up and just kind of see how everything's going and see what koji you've thrown koji into, to kind of see what's going on there. And the samples that you sent over were absolutely fantastic. I'm going to sip on the rest of this Smokeworks because that's near and dear to my heart right there. And then my wife won't want to kiss me later, but that's all right. It'll be fine. I'll brush my teeth. I'll be good. But no, I can't thank you enough for hanging out with me. This has been a lot of fun. And guys, before we go, why don't you tell everybody where they can, if they can want to pick up a bottle of Few Spirits, and if you want to put your socials or anything out there, please do.
Okay, with Few Spirits, I think we are in just about all 50 states. I think which bottles are there remains to be seen, because I think I've commonly seen our bourbon like in the world, but some of our other ones are harder to find. But you can find it all on fewspirits.com. And for me, my socials are Little Sipper on Instagram.
I love that. I love that. That's awesome. All right, guys. Thank y'all very much. Hang on real fast. I want to talk with you. Thank y'all very much for hanging out with us. This was a blast. Y'all be good. Make sure you drink water. Water, it's a thing. Drink it as you're drinking whiskey or just in life. It's going to get hot. Summer's coming. So y'all be good. And until next time, keep your spirits up.